to Mississippi.
What time do they get to Mississippi?
Approximately 10 p.m.
Okay.
Approximately.
Can you put C3 for the location of the crowd at approximately 10 p.m.? Is that Killingsworth in Mississippi?
Correct.
Okay. Let's use 183 to sort of document the next period of time from 10 to, say, 10:30. Can we do that? We'll call that 183. And before we leave 182, with respect to does the activity, what else does the activity log, if anything, indicate with respect to beyond lasers? Respect to projectiles or other activities of the crowd?
At that point, we don't have any other indicators.
Okay. Is it your understanding that the crowd has continued to remain in the street?
Yes.
The different streets?
Yes.
And with respect to the crowd in the street, is it does the activity log indicate that the streets were open to traffic?
Yes.
And as the incident commander, that was something that you were aware of, correct?
Correct.
Then let's go to 183 and talk about the period of time from 10 to 10:30. Can you tell us what is happening in the area of Killingsworth and Mississippi or Albina in that period at between 10 and say 10:15?
Sure. At 10:02, it's reported by our airplane that the group is now approximately 200 to 300. We have a police unit at Albina and Killingsworth at that point in time, who reports at 10:07 that they're taking paint balloons.
Does the activity log and at Albina and Killingsworth and Albina or Mississippi and Killingsworth, let's call that C4 for this 183? And does the activity log indicate that at one point the crowd was on Albina, which is to the east of Mississippi, and somehow scooted through the PCC campus to regather up at Mississippi?
So that occurs in and about this time.
Sure.
With this group, it's spread out at that point in time.
How so?
In that it's on Mississippi, both north and south of Killingsworth.
Okay.
At that point. That event that you're referring to, there's a group that is reported from the airplane attempts to go through the PCC community campus and is headed towards going through the campus and headed towards Albina.
What, if anything, does the activity log show about any sort of police response to that piece of the crowd breaking off and trying to go east towards Albina?
So there was concern that they were going to attempt to flank the officers, and a unit went up along Albina to show a presence, and they went back to Killingsworth at that point in time.
Okay. Was that sort of a police blocking maneuver of some
Yes.
sort? So why don't you, on this exhibit, why don't you put P2 for the police blocking maneuver? P sub 2.
Okay.
And then I want to jump back real quick to 182 for the blocking maneuver on Montana. The police were there.
Okay.
Put a P1 there.
On Montana.
Yeah, for the blocking maneuver there. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Back to 183. So
Okay.
now we're at, again, Killingsworth, Albina, and Mississippi. What happens next of note according to the activity log?
So in the
Good. Yeah, in your judgment as the incident commander.
So within that, the CAD reports also that there are bottles or water bottles being thrown at that period of time as well, along with the paint.
And can you tell the jury what does CAD stand for?
It is the computer.
Aided dispatch.
There you go. Thank you.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that something that is that generated by the city's Bureau of Emergency Communications?
It is.
And is that a set of documents you reviewed to help testify to the jury today about the activities on August 14th?
Yes.
Okay. And those CAD documents, they are kept in the regular course of the city's business or operational activities, correct?
Yes.
As is this document too, this activity log 102, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. So the CAD indicates water bottles and what else?
As well as the paint.
Paint, okay. And I'm sorry, what time is that approximately?
That is approximately 10:07 in the evening.
07, okay. With respect to either the activity log or the CAD, what's the next significant thing that happens in your judgment that day as the incident commander?
At that point, we determined it was an unlawful assembly. They were continuing to block the streets, now throwing projectiles at the officers, and the declaration of an unlawful assembly or civil disturbance was made.
Who made the declaration for an unlawful assembly?
I did.
And under what authority?
Under ORS as well as the city charter.
And why did you make that declaration?
At this point, my concern was we still had a group in blocking streets, had no permit, and now is throwing things or attempting to assault officers.
Did you see any reference in either the activity log or the CAD that at this time dumpsters were on fire and had been placed in the middle of the street?
It is shortly after that a dumpster is reported to be on fire just to the south near, I believe it's Killingsworth Court in Mississippi.
Okay.
The shield wall appears during that period of time as well.
About what time?
And I'm looking for it, sir. So the dumpster fire is reported at 10:15. At 10:16, we report there's soda can, at least a soda can being thrown as well. And the shield wall appears. At 10:10, it's reported that they're setting up a barricade.
As the incident commander on August 14th, did that concern you that a barricade was being erected across the city street?
That with all of the other things, yes, continues to concern me. The shield wall, I'm sorry, was at 10:09 is when they reported the shield wall of approximately 20 folks.
20 people,
20 individuals with shields
20 individuals.
across the road. And then the barricade, putting up a barricade is the next dispatch or information that we get through radio.
Okay, so on your 183, why don't you put C5 as the donating the the location of the the shield wall?
It would be roughly the same place as C4, just to the north, just slightly.
Okay, very good.
Do you want me to still mark C5?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
That's fine. So both, so the shield walls at C4, what, in looking at 102 or the CAD document that you reviewed, what's the next, what happens next?
Announcements are made. So at 10:07, I declared an unlawful assembly. The first announcement is at 10:09, and there's two more announcements made at different locations. At 10:14, the 214 copies or captures that last one. Sorry, at 2:15, sorry, 10:15, they made their third announcement.
Does the activity log indicate at 10:16 that you're receiving information from the airplane?
At what time, sir?
22:16 hours, 10:16 p.m.
Yes.
And what information were you receiving?
Again, it's confirming that we're looking at 200 to 300 individuals.
This is in the area of C4,
Correct.
either at the shield wall or behind the shield wall.
Correct.
Okay. And we know, so does this document 102 or the CAD material, does it indicate that the approximate time of when the police, if at all, did they move against the shield wall?
So at 10:18 is when they report that they're going to move north.
Okay. And there's been videos in the case of that. What in terms of 183 dealing with this time period, 10 to 10:30, what's the next sort of notable thing? Actually, at 10:18 with the movement against the shield wall, why don't you put P3 there? What does the activity log or the CAD document show with respect to the next sort of things that are happening?
At 10:20, Delta Squad is reporting that they're having heavy resistance and that they're taking custodies.
Okay.
The crowd.
What about? Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir.
So then after 10:20, what's next? Does it indicate that the police are being successful in moving the crowd?
The crowd does move northbound. Um, at 10:23, it's reported that a mortar shell has been thrown at the police.
Is this, does this indicate sort of does the document indicate where that happened? Or is it just north of Killingsworth in Mississippi?
So at 10:22, it's radio that the group is heading northbound on Mississippi to Simpson, and that our Delta squad is now crossing Simpson during that period of time. So it's shortly thereafter, a minute later, that the mortar shell has gone off, and within a minute of that, they're slowly reported to be moving back into Peninsular Park.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I ask a question in aid of an objection?
Yes.
Sir, where were you on the evening of August 14, 2020?
In the command post,
Where's the command post?
out on Airport Way.
So you don't have personal knowledge of any of the entries in this activity log?
How so, sir?
You weren't present at L2, C2, or any of these locations, right?
Physically, no.
Well, is there another way other than physically you can be somewhere?
I guess I'm not understanding your question, sir.
You weren't here, so you don't know what's in.
Your Honor, may I ask some questions that might
Yes.
satisfy counsel?
Yes.
Sir, I should have asked you this as the incident commander out at the airport. Are you receiving sources of information about the movements of the crowd or the movements of the police force?
Yes.
What are the sources of information that you're receiving?
There's several sources. There'll be the officers on the ground in uniform. There's officers in the periphery that are not in uniform. They're also an airplane.
So this is radio communications from these different police units back to the command post?
Yes.
At the command post, do you have other sources of information available to you on August 14th?
Yes.
What are those types of other sources of information?
At times, the airplane will have a downlink, so we'll be able to visually see what they're seeing. I can't testify whether or not this night we had that or not. There's also open source information coming through our intelligence unit that is being provided to us as well.
And when you say open source, do you mean like live streamers on the ground?
Things that are posted on the internet
Posted
that
on
are
the
available
internet.
to the public.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. So at 10:22, you received information in the command post, and it's reflected in this document, the activity log. And as you said, the scribe is there and trying to do his or her best to take down the information. So at 10:23, L2 just took a mortar. What is L2?
Would be one of our lieutenants, who's one of our command people on the ground.
Okay. And at 10:24, this indicates that the airplane has indicated that the group is going slowly into Peninsula Park, correct?
That is correct.
And at 10:24, 1D1, what does that mean?
That would be your squad leader for the Delta squad.
Okay, so it says 1D1 is holding at the park. Does that mean to you that the Delta squad was holding the crowd at the park, or they were at the park, or the crowd was at the park?
They had made it to the park and didn't proceed into the park.
Okay. 183 is, we're trying to document 10 to 10:30, so I guess we're what, at C6 now?
We're at C5.
C5, yes. C5, the crowd is back at Peninsula Park. that correct?
Correct.
And again, approximately what time is that?
Reports that they're headed into the park roughly at 10:24. They're slowly moving into the park, and that's through our air unit. At 10:26, Delta reports that all units are ready to disengage and move away from the area.
So why don't you put P4? Does the activity log indicate to you where Delta would have been, or just sort of near the park, or?
Had they been doing the push, they would have gone up Mississippi to Ainsworth and followed the crowd to the park.
Okay. So P4, why don't you put, we'll use that as a location where Delta disengages with the crowd.
Okay.
And it says here, does it say, was it just Delta or was it all units were disengaging or ready to disengage?
It says all units.
So with respect to either the activity log or the CAD materials that you read, I mean, what's your understanding of what the police were doing and what the crowd was doing at the time the crowd returned to Peninsula Park at approximately 10:26 p.m. on August 14th?
So could you repeat that question, please?
With respect to the activity log or the CAD printout, the materials that you reviewed, what does it indicate in terms of what's happening with the crowd at 10:26?
So the crowd is in the park.
Does it indicate how long they stay in the park?
It does. It indicates that the crowd is in there approximately 6 minutes, if I can find it here. So at 10:31 p.m., it's reported that we have mortars being shot off, which would be large fireworks, at Rosa Parks and Albina. They then move the next dispatch information is that we have that they've moved a dumpster and lit it on fire in that intersection.
And this is at approximately 10:31 p.m.?
10:31.
Okay. And this is at the intersection of Rosa Parks and Albina?
Correct.
So at 10:31, we have a dumpster in the intersection and a mortar has been launched?
It shows that we have multiple fireworks that have been fired.
Okay, so why don't we use that as C6 for the location of the crowd?
Okay, this is past 10:30. You want to?
10:31 is good enough.
Okay.
So does this indicate that the crowd was in the park for about 6 minutes and then they came out and then they immediately, at least there was these fireworks and the dumpster fire?
Yes.
Okay. Then let's have 183 be from 10:31 to approximately 11 p.m. I may have misspoke. This will be 184. Again, note. What's the next notable thing that happens after this, the fireworks and the dumpster fire at Rosa Parks in Albina?
At 10:38, the air unit states that they're westbound on Rosa Parks.
From the intersection of Albina and Rosa Parks.
Correct.
What, if anything, did the police do in response to the movement of the crowd westbound Rosa Parks?
We had positioned police units on Rosa Parks to the west as a blocking force at approximately, I believe it's Missouri.
Why don't you put P, I think we're at P5 for this blocking force. So this is Rosa Parks in Missouri.
Yes,
So the crowd at this point is somewhere between, on Rosa Parks, somewhere between Missouri and Albina.
yes.
Okay. Looking at the activity log 102 and or the CAD document, what is sort of the next thing that happens with the movement of the crowd and the police on August 14th?
Air 1 reports at 10:40 that the group is decreased in size to approximately 200, and that they're at Michigan at that point.
Decreased in size to 200. So the crowd is getting smaller?
That's what's being reported.
As the incident commander, did that indicate to you that people were able to disperse? That they were leaving? The crowd is getting smaller?
That would indicate that, for me, that we had, yes, some individuals had left.
And what time is that again? That's at
That was at 10:40.
10:40, okay. And are we still, are the police still at P5 blocking on Rosa Parks at approximately Missouri?
Yes.
Okay, then again on 184, sort of window of time, 10:31 to 11 p.m. What's the next sort of thing that happens?
Charlie says that the group is approaching them. At 10:41, they're signaling them to go back eastbound.
Signaling who?
Signaling the group.
Okay. What happened after that?
At that point, at 10:42, Charlie reports that they're having golf balls thrown at them.
And is this in the area, where is this occurring?
This is at what would be P5, which would be that area of Missouri and Rosa Parks,
Missouri, Michigan, Rosa Parks.
roughly that area.
So P5, golf balls. What happened? What happens next?
The crowd moves northbound on Mississippi with Delta pushing. The crowd goes to Decum, turns west on Decum to Missouri, and then north on Missouri.
And approximately what time is this happening?
Going eastbound on Deacon at 10:43. 10:43, Charlie is saying that they're continuing to take rocks and projectiles. 10:44, the main group is eastbound from Deacon to Mississippi and now northbound.
North on Mississippi.
Correct.
And this is
Actually, Missouri. I believe it was Missouri at that point in time.
okay. And we're still north of Rosa Parks.
Correct.
What happens next according to the activity log?
At 10:44, they turn east on Deacom to Mississippi.
And then where does the crowd go?
I believe they go to Albina next.
Why don't we put, are we up to C7?
Yes.
Does the document indicate that the crowd turns, makes a right-hand turn and goes south on Albina?
Objection leading
They actually go northbound.
witness.
Yes, overruled.
So we're at C7?
Yes.
So C7, the crowd, I'm sorry, is it Deacom and?
Deacom and Albina.
Same objection.
Sustained.
All right. So C7, the crowd is at Deacom and Albina, and again, this is, what happens next?
The group continues northbound.
How far?
They go to Stafford.
And then where does the crowd move?
They temporarily move westbound on Stafford for a short period of time, stop, and then return to Albina.
Was there any sort of police blocking movement at Stafford that prevented the crowd from walking west on Stafford?
No, not to my knowledge.
Okay. The crowd returns to Albina, and then what happens next?
They go to Lombard.
They would go north on Albina to Lombard, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, at what time do they reach Lombard? If the document shows that.
It does. Move through. So they turned westbound from Albina to Stafford at 10:53. Then they turned back around, and at 10:55 they were north towards Lombard.
Okay. And did you say that they reached Lombard?
They did.
Okay, for C8, let me put C8 with the crowd at Lombard at approximately 10:55.
Do you want the times written on here, sir?
Sure, if you can. What, if anything, does Exhibit 102 indicate about what's happening at approximately 10:47 p.m. with respect to projectiles? It does.
So at 10:47, Charlie is stating that they had ball bearings